Hi there, Neil Clark here from Falkirk Piping, www.falkirkpiping.com. Welcome to the channel. Videos contained here are designed as aid memoirs for my pupils, although they're free for anyone to use. If you're benefiting from the videos, please subscribe to the channel. This is completely free to do. May I also ask that you consider supporting my chosen charity, Parkinson's UK, by donating to my Just Giving page. The link to that page may be found in the comments box below this video. Okay, Jimmy and everyone else, so this is a talk through the ground of Corrienessan's salute. Now, the majority of you will be taking Corrienessan's salute from perhaps the Kilberry book or the Piobaireachd Society books, and great stuff. That's where I would usually take it from. Other sources as well, but in this case, it's at the back of Scots Guards Book 2, and the beauty of the version in Scots Guards Book 2, excuse the dog, is that the thing's written out in full. Unfortunately, it can confuse when we're talking about lines and variations because it's condensed to make it fit the typeset in the Scots Guards Book. So in Piobaireachd we talk about variations, and the ground or the urler. This is what we're going through today. So we don't talk about parts, we talk about variations, and within those variations we usually talk about lines. Now, Jimmy, what makes it a little bit complicated here is what would normally be line 1 in the ground of Corrienessan is in fact the first 6 bars of the tune. So you're looking at, in Scots Guards books here, you're looking at, that is actually line 1 and the first 2 bars of line 2. You can see the double bars at the end there. That would normally be in Kilberry or the Piobaireachd Society and most other places. That would actually be line number 1. Line number 2 in Scots Guards Book 2 starts halfway along line number 2, so you've got 2 bars there and the full 4 bars of line number 3. So that's line 1, line 2. Sometimes you repeat line 1, you don't repeat line 1 in this tune. And finally, line 3 is 4 bars only, and it's contained in line number 4 in Scots Guards Book 2. And that's the ground. So line 1 is the first 6 bars, line 2 is the second 6 bars, and line 3 is the final line of 4 bars only. And that would have, in the Piobaireachd Society manuscripts, that would have at the top of the book, it would have 664, and that lets you know how the ground is broken up. So let's have a look at it. What we're going to do today is just talk you through the various embellishments in it, and perhaps just a few of the long notes. So we'll go through it a line at a time, should the collie permit. We've got a stock of num-nums for him to sit quietly for, so we'll see if it'll actually work or not. The first line then, nice and slow. Now the tune is a salute. That might be just a little bit slow, but we'll use that for demonstration purposes. Now what you saw there, bars 1 and 2 are the same as bars 3 and 4, and again in the, I can't remember offhand, but in the Kilberry book that may well be condensed so that you'll see bars 1 and 2, and it'll just have a wee 2 at the top of it. That's quite common, so you repeat these bars. So that's line 1 now. The first thing we have a look at is the cadence to C, which is the very first thing we do. Now, we've kind of went through that, but we'll have a wee look at it again. The cadence to C is a G grace note to a long E. It looks like some crazy embellishment, but if you look at the actual embellishment itself, you'll see that the E in that embellishment is denoted as a full quaver. In actual fact, it's played even longer than that. Apart from anything else, this is the very first note of the tune, so you're going to set the pace with this note. G grace note to an E and through the D to the C. G grace note to a long E through the D to the C. We then have a short B. Don't cut the B too short. This is probably about the shortest note in the ground here. And we're going to perform then a grip to C. So make sure that the B isn't cut too much. Get right down to that low G, slap in a D grace note to low G, and then up to the C for the grip. So now, one of the advantages of playing all these embellishments quite open like that is when you're on the boards at perhaps the Athol Gathering and it's snowing, deliberate embellishments is the only way that they're going to, it's actually going to work. If you're rattling through things, then your fingers will freeze up and you'll start missing it. So no harm with deliberate embellishments. It does tend to, when the adrenaline kicks in, you're actually performing, you're actually competing, things do tend to tighten up a little bit. So practicing with deliberate embellishments is no harm whatsoever. So we're going to move along now. The next new embellishment that we introduce is the Rodin, R-O-D-I-N, at the end of bar 2. So now that Rodin there, that was my particular cold weather nightmare, not nightmare, but certainly hiccup. I was picked up for that up north in 2 competitions. Dornoch was one, and it was a wee bit cold and I just wasn't getting it. So what I had to do was go right back and really open everything out, be deliberate, and you know, the trade-off was it might have been a quite open and deliberate embellishment, but at least it was there and it was right, you know, which was better than it fluffing the thing all together. So if we have a look at the end of bar 2, we have the cadence again. Then the Rodin comes in, low G, B finger only. Now the B finger is the one that really doesn't want to go up, so just make sure that comes up. B finger, back down to low G and finish on the A. Let's do that with the cadence. So that's your first 2 bars, which in effect is the first phrase that's repeated for the next 2 bars as well. So going over that once more. Okay, let's skip ahead and take you to the bars 5 and 6 then of this line. So you've pretty much got everything in that last bar there. You've got the cadence to C, a Rodin, a grip, back up to C, and then we'll just go through this cadence to B because we've not done it so far. So the same beginnings. Sorry, that's misleading. So G grace note to E, and the reason I corrected myself is the D is a single D finger because you're going down to the B here. It's okay coming to the C, it makes sense, it's almost impossible to do anything else. But coming to the B, G grace note to E, a single D finger and down to the B. G grace note to E, single D finger down to the B. Be careful not to cross between the D and the B. not being too much of a rush to get through that D there. It's a nice round movement. So single D finger, try not to cross, and don't shave too much off that D there as well. So that's the first line. Just one last thing I'd say about it. In bar number 5 there, coming from the C after the grip up to the F, make sure you don't cross. It's quite easy to do there. I'm going to play through line number 2, and there's a double echo in line number 2 which we'll talk about. Here we go. So really in effect there, it's bar 1, 2, 3. Bar 4 is really the only one that changes. That's quite common in the middle line. The middle line, there's usually a wee extra, a wee surprise coming through. So bars 1 and 2 are exactly the same as you have above. Bar 3 is the same as bar 5 in line 1. So the tickly bit, if you like, is so there in bar number 4, cadence to C, Rodin, grip. The next movement is our double echo. So it's a B double echo. We start with a cadence to the B. But that first B there, that first B is very short, and immediately when we finish the B, we strike 2 fingers off that strike. Don't climb from A to B. Try and get the 2 fingers off immediately. We pause after the strike, and the second strike isn't so much a strike as sitting down in the low G and then back to the B again. To take you through that, so cadence to the B, strike, sit down and back to the B, and we hold that final B. Remember, G grace note to the E through the single D finger to the B, strike, sit down and come back up. So let's have a look at that bar in full. That's really all that needs explained from line 2 there. The only other thing about the tune is you'll hear some notes in different versions held or cut just a little bit longer. There's a few different not too many different ways of playing this tune actually, but a few kind of subtle differences. So we really only have one more thing to explain, and that's in the last bar, and that's your videre. I think it's either a videre or a dare, I can't remember. So anyway, it's V-E-D-A-R-E, or D-A-R-E. Looks like dare, but it's pronounced dare. And the reason it's called two things is one refers to the note when you come from a note of a lower, the movement, sorry, when you come from a note of a lower value, and the other one refers to the movement when you come from a note of a higher value. I think this will be a videre, I'm not sure. Anyway, let's have a look at the last line, then we'll explain it. I'll just try and keep this collie quiet for a wee while longer. Now, I do tend to play these videres quite open. You can go for it and wiggle the fingers and hope for the best, or you can take your time, get it correct, and perhaps be criticised for being a little bit slow, but you're still correct, so that's better than making a mess of it, I think. Anyway, there's only one other thing. I'll go through the videre in a second. There's one other thing worth explaining. Now that F there is shown as a semiquaver. Give it a little bit more. It's hanto, anti, hanto, e. So again, the B there gets a little bit longer. Don't cut anything. So let's have a look at the videre itself. We're coming from an A. So the first is A, F, E, G grace note to E, and back to the F. A, F, E, G grace note to E, and back to the F. Okay, now eventually it's up to yourself. You can head for I always feel that you know that's going to go right 99 times out of 100, and then 100 will be when I'm standing, and it really matters, you know. So I do keep that down. I keep the pace down in all these movements. That is pretty much it. Well, we'll just have a look at the last bar. We've done that before, but. And that's you at the end of the urler or the ground. So we'll go through the whole thing. You can play along if you want. It will be quite deliberate. And that, as far as the ground's concerned, that's really everything covered. Okay, pretty much it. I hope that helped. And I'll get you back on that soon. The dog came back to say cheerio, and I'll catch you next Sunday.